Hello, and we're going to be looking at Lesson 5-6, Solving Two-Step Inequalities in our textbook. We'll be starting and looking at questions 4 through 7 on page 292. Question 4. Joe ran 3 miles yesterday and wants to run at least 12 miles this week. Write an inequality that can be used to determine the additional number of days Joe must run this week if each run is 3 miles. Then solve the inequality. As we look through this problem, we see that Joe wants to run at least 12 miles this week. And at least 12 miles this week gives us our inequality sign. At least tells us that we are going to use the inequality sign of greater than or equal to 12, meaning he wants to run 12 or more miles. What we know so far is that Joe has run 3 miles. And he needs to add more mileage to that to meet his goal. We are also told that he is going to run each day and do 3 miles each day. So we would represent that with 3 and your variable for this equation, showing he has run 3 miles and we're going to do 3 miles each day in order to get greater than or equal to 12. Now it is time to solve the inequality. Inequalities are solved identically to solving equations, except without an equal sign. First step that I like to do is to make sure that the variable is fully to the left using the commutative property. So we are going to flip the positive 3m and the 3 around, giving us the inequality 3m plus 3 is greater than or equal to 12. And since our goal is to get the variable alone, we're going to start by getting rid of the 3 that is being added by subtracting it out of the problem. When we do that, the 3 and the negative 3 zero out, leaving us with 3m is greater than or equal to 12 minus 3, which is 9. My next step is to get rid of the multiplying by 3, and in order to do that, we are going to divide both sides of the inequality by 3. 3m divided by 3 gives us the 1m. 9 divided by 3 is 3. And since I divided by a positive, my sign is going to stay the same. So m is greater than or equal to 3. Question 5. Solve 4 plus 6.5x is less than 36.5. And same starting point as the last problem. I want the variable all the way to the left, so I'm going to use the commutative property and have 6.5x plus 4 is less than 36.5. And now I'm going to begin my steps to solving this inequality by eliminating the 4 first. And in order to do that, I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides of the inequality. The plus 4 and minus 4 zero out, leaving 6.5x is less than 36.5 minus 4 is 32.5. Now I'm going to undo my multiplication by using division, so I'm going to divide both sides by 6.5. 6.5x divided by 6.5 is a 1x, so I'm left with 1x, and 32.5 divided by 6.5 is 5. And my final check, I divided by a positive, so I'm going to leave my sign the same and end up with x is less than 5. Number 6. Thomas has $1,000 to spend on a vacation. His plane ticket costs $348.25. If he stays 5.5 days at his destination, how much can he spend each day? Write an inequality and then solve. The first thing we need to look for is the inequality, and it tells us in our first sentence that Thomas has $1,000 to spend on his vacation. That is giving him a budget, so that is the maximum amount he can spend. So Thomas can spend less than or equal to $1,000. Now, he does have to pay for his plane ticket, so that's his first expense from his $1,000. So we know that the $348.25 is going to be included in his costs, but we also want to know how much money he can spend each day, and he's going to be there 5.5 days. So we're going to include 5.5 and having an equal amount of money per day. I'm going to flip my inequality on the left, so I have 5.5D plus $348.25 is less than or equal to $1,000. And I'm going to solve it the same way I would an equation, starting by subtracting the 348.25 from both sides of the inequality. The 348.25, they're going to zero out on the left, leaving 5.5D is less than or equal to the difference on the right. And when I subtract those numbers, I get $651.75. This tells me that he can spend $651.75 over those 5.5 days. But since we want to know an estimate for each day, we're going to divide that total by the 5.5 days. 5.5D divided by 5.5 leaves me with 1D, and the 651.75 divided by 5.5 leaves me with $118.50. I divided by a positive, so I leave my sign the same, and find that Thomas can spend up to $118.50 a day in order to stay within his budget. Question 7. We're going to solve this inequality. And as usual, I prefer my variable to be on the left side. But when I look at this one, I notice that the 3/5 x has a minus sign in front of it, which tells me the 3/5 x is positive and is negative and the 12 is positive. So when I reverse this inequality, I'm going to have negative 3/5 x plus 12 is greater than 39. This reversal is extremely important to make sure we know what number is negative and what is being added. So now to solve my inequality, I'm going to follow my same steps. I'm going to subtract the 12 from both sides of my inequality. That zeroes the 12s out on the left and leaves me with negative 3/5 x is greater than 39 minus 12 is 27. And in order to get rid of a fraction that's being multiplied, we are going to multiply again, but this time by the reciprocal. The reciprocal of negative 3/5 is negative 5/3. And I'm going to do that to both sides of my inequality. Now, when I do this, negative 5/3 times negative 3/5 is 15 over 15, which is equal to 1x, leaving just my x. And now I have 27 over 1 times negative 5 over 3. When I look at this, I can cross-cancel the 3 and 27 because 27 divided by 3 is 9 and 3 divided by 3 is 1. Which simplifies my problem to 9 times negative 5, which is negative 45. And this is where I'm doing my check. And since I multiplied by a negative, the sign in my problem will reverse. This is key to remember. Multiplying and dividing by a negative reverses your inequality sign. A key piece of information to keep in mind. What I want you to do now, on page 293 through 294, I want you to complete numbers 8 through 16, but I want you to skip number 13. If you feel like you want to do number 13, I will have it done on my answer sheet that you will be able to open up here in about 24 hours. I'll have it opened up before you take your test. But I don't want you to look straight to the answers. You need to try the problems first, then check your answers. Because if you miss something, then you need to get online at 2:15 on our conference link and you need to ask questions. Well, this was our lesson on two-step inequalities. Solve them just like you would an equation. And then remember, if you multiply or divide by a negative, you're going to reverse your sign. You also have a test coming up this week, so keep that in mind in Canvas. There is a quizzes review for you. And if you have any questions, inbox me or get online and talk to me in person. I'll see you soon.